It was a chilly winter morning, and Donald Trump was driving through New York City, heading to a meeting. The air was crisp, and the streets were packed with people hurrying to their destinations. Suddenly, something at a street corner caught his eye. There, sitting on the sidewalk, was a man wrapped in a tattered military jacket and an old, frayed blanket. Beside him, a cardboard sign in bold letters read, "I am a veteran. Please help." Without hesitation, Trump instructed his driver to stop the car. Turning to his security detail, he firmly said, "I want to know who that man is." Then, he stepped out of the vehicle, feeling the icy wind hit his face. As Trump walked toward the man, curious passers-by glanced in his direction. The man flinched at first upon noticing Trump approaching, but remained seated. In a gentle tone, Trump asked, "Hello, what's your name?" The man hesitated before looking up and, in a hoarse voice, replied, "My name is John. John Miller." Kneeling to John's level, Trump met his eyes with a calm and empathetic gaze. "Tell me your story, John," he urged softly. John tucked his trembling hands under his worn-out blanket, took a deep breath, and began speaking in a weary, shaky voice. "I'm a veteran. I enlisted in the military when I was 22. I served in Afghanistan. We endured unimaginable hardships during our missions. I lost friends. I fought to survive every single day. But the hardest part wasn't being there. It was coming back and realizing that nothing was the same anymore." Trump listened intently, his expression reflecting the weight of John's words. John's voice grew weaker. "I was severely injured during one of our missions," he continued. "An explosion took my friends. That moment still haunts me. When I finally returned home, I got medical treatment, but my soul, it never healed." His voice cracked. His eyes filled with tears as he lowered his head and whispered, "My family abandoned me. They said I was a burden. I lost my job, and when I couldn't pay my debts, I lost my home. One day, I found myself on the streets, cold, hungry, and utterly alone." Tears streamed down John's face. No one offered a helping hand. He choked out, "I fought for this country, risked my life, and now, it feels like I don't even exist. People walk past me like I'm a ghost." Trump's face grew serious, his empathy deepening with every word. But John wasn't done. Gripping his blanket tightly, he continued, "Last winter, I was sleeping out here when the man next to me froze to death. He was wrapped in his blanket. I called the police, but it was too late. He was a Vietnam veteran." His voice wavered as he added, "What terrifies me the most is thinking that one day, that could be me. Just another forgotten soul." Looking up at Trump, John's tear-filled eyes held nothing but pain. "I gave everything for this country," he whispered, "but now my life is nothing but darkness. Sometimes I ask myself, why did I even survive?" Trump took a deep breath, the weight of John's words sinking in. His voice was steady but filled with emotion as he declared, "John, a man like you should never be in this situation. You risked your life for this country, and yet this country has failed you. That has to change. I promise you it will." John's eyes widened, disbelief and a flicker of hope flashing across his face. "Really? You would do this for me?" he asked, his voice shaking. Without a moment's hesitation, Trump replied, "Yes, John. You fought for this country. Now, it's time for this country to fight for you. This is just the beginning. This darkness? It will end. And together, we'll make it right." For the first time in years, tears of hope streamed down John's face. This wasn't just a helping hand, it was a lifeline. Trump wasn't merely offering assistance. He was giving John a light in the darkness, a chance to believe in a better tomorrow. Reaching for his phone, Trump immediately called his assistant. "Book the nearest hotel. I want a doctor on site," he instructed firmly. Then, turning to his bodyguard, he added, "Get a hot meal for John right now." Sitting beside John once more, Trump placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "We're going to make sure you're comfortable now," he said. Within minutes, his bodyguard returned with a steaming bowl of soup and a sandwich. John hesitated before taking a bite. As he chewed, tears welled up in his eyes. "It's been so long since I've had something warm to eat," he whispered, Trump stayed by his side, offering encouragement and making sure John finished his meal. An hour later, a sleek black SUV pulled up. Gently helping John into the car, Trump personally escorted him to the hotel. There, John was shown to a private room where a warm shower, fresh clothes, and a soft bed awaited him. For the first time in what felt like forever, John felt a sense of dignity return. A doctor arrived soon after, ensuring that John received the medical attention he needed. Trump wasn't stopping here. He was organizing a full plan to help John regain his health and rebuild his life. The next morning, over a beautifully set breakfast table, Trump met John again. "John, I've put together a plan for you," he said with a smile. "There's an organization called Veterans United. They help homeless veterans rebuild their lives. I'll personally cover all your expenses for the first year." John's eyes widened in shock. "You're really doing this for me?" he stammered, emotion thick in his voice. Trump nodded warmly. "Yes, John. You served this country. Now, it's time for this country to serve you. It's the least I can do." Later that day, John met with a representative from Veterans United. They walked him through all the support he would receive: housing, job training, counseling, everything he needed for a fresh start. Trump then handed John a check from his foundation to cover immediate expenses. Overwhelmed, John whispered through his tears, "This feels like a miracle. I never thought my life could change so fast." As Trump prepared to leave, he turned to John one last time. "One day, you'll have the chance to help someone else," he said with a knowing smile. "The world becomes better when we extend our hands to one another." Tears still in his eyes, but now filled with determination, John looked at Trump and vowed, "I promise. One day, I'll pay it forward." Facing the camera, Trump then addressed the audience with heartfelt sincerity. "There are so many people in need of help in this country. Let's not ignore them. Even the smallest gesture can change a life. Sometimes, all it takes is one person to be a beacon of hope. Remember, we all have the power to make a difference." The story closed with scenes of John stepping into his new life, moving into a safe home, preparing for work, and smiling with hope for the future. He now had a place to call home, a purpose, and a renewed sense of dignity. This was proof that a single act of kindness could transform a life forever. If this story moved you, don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments below, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications for more inspiring stories. Together, let's spread hope and kindness.